Hello YouTube, welcome to Bold Book Reviews. This week we're going to discuss Sister Sage and how she's written. So some of the reviews I've seen about Sister Sage focuses on how she's poorly written as an intelligent character. This particular criticism I'm referring to is that she doesn't actually come across as smart and manipulating of others. Instead, she comes across as having read the script. While I disagree that the problem is that she isn't actually smart, I do agree that the writers did a disservice to her introduction. The writing of the character is just fine. Her power allows her to manipulate those around her, so she's essentially playing chess against fate. I really don't know who she's playing against, but people are her chess pieces. The character design is fascinating in how the writers envision her. I think the biggest mistake that the writers made was to have Homelander manipulate her into working with him.
You can stay here, reeking of Taco Bell and loneliness, or we can put some of your theories into practice on the global scale. It's the last time you got a chance like that.
Homelander is far from an idiot, but he's even further away from being on the same level as Sister Sage. Instead, the audience's introduction to her should have been written with a tighter grip. Her powers work on an invisible level, her intellect allowing her to bend and sway others' wills according to her desires. So that the audience can fully understand how her powers work, the interaction between her and Homelander should have been slowed down by focusing on more details, which would help show the cause and effect in a clear and concise way. A good example of what I mean is her scene with Mother's Milk. Her understanding of his psychological makeup allowed her to affect him on a fundamental level.
But if you kill me, you'd have to look Janine in the eye.
The scene slows down to show Sister Sage attempt to manipulate MM.
Doesn't she have enough problems? Expelled, told a boy to eat a bag of dicks.
But he fights against the manipulation. The sounds of the books being thrown, acting as a heartbeat, also helps to highlight the psychological battle as well as increase the tension.
You see that, right?
Said, shut up.
You curse the poor girl.
No!
And most importantly, she loses the battle.
I once ate a whole bag of candy corns. In my mouth. I ate them.
Her powers are such that she should always be a step ahead of everyone around her, but everything about this scene shows her limitations and helps add tension to other scenes because the audience won't expect her to come out on top every time. What's the most interesting thing about this is that the very principle she was using to control him is the same principle that made the manipulation impossible. He was loyal to a fault. And Sister Sage used the contradiction between his loyalty to his family and his loyalty to the cause.
Baby, fighting is not how you solve problems.
Why not? That's what you do.
Perhaps if the situation wasn't so dire, she wouldn't have even attempted this. This scene does an excellent job at showcasing how her powers work, but I do have a problem with how they resolve this struggle. Sister Sage's brains are the only thing that regrows. Not bone, or skin, or blood for that matter. She should have died, or they should have made her powers more like Deadpool with an emphasis on how it affects her brain matter if they really wanted to pull this off. Definitely a blip in her creation. But everything else works well too. I love her disposition towards how she views humanity as far as race and ethnicity goes.
Because I'm not wearing some vaguely racist supersuit in front of a bunch of clapping seals.
For wanting to widen a representation in a show, this is how to do it. Her mindset towards race and ethnicity fits exactly what one would expect for someone with her intellect. And she just happens to be Black. She blends in organically despite essentially being forced in. Although her character would have been even better if she didn't hold to the "we're superior" species that seems to plague a lot of supervillains.
You are a genetically superior being, and she's the evolutionary equivalent of a capybara. You're better than her. Act like it.
I think it would have been far more interesting to have her struggle more complex, having to find a balance between being robot-like with her logic while also having to deal with the illogic that can come with emotions. They almost touch on this.
You give me a frontal lobotomy, and I don't have to fucking be me for a couple hours.
But they don't develop her reason for wanting to essentially turn her brain off. All we know is that she needs this from time to time, but that's more personal preference than a character design flaw. All in all, I think her powers should have been introduced a little more thoughtfully, but Sister Sage ain't half bad. If you enjoyed this review, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.